Welcome everyone to this week's NIM community call. I am Sudo, coming to you from very toasty Portugal and very toasty Europe in general. Climate change is a hoax. I don't know if you, ladies and gentlemen, heard it, because it's definitely true. We can sort of see it right now in action. Now with all of that joke out of the way, I have a very interesting and super awesome guest with me today, who hasn't been on for some time now, I think. And we're going to talk about actually two community requested topics. All of this call was community requested. One of them is going to be marketing. People asked in our Telegram chat about, what approach NIM is taking to marketing, and Jaya promised an update, so we're going to give you that. And also just today, we were also asked about our roadmap, how we're progressing with it. So we're also going to give you a quick roadmap update. And for that, of course, I have with me Jaya, who's the CSO of NIM. How's it going, big boss?
Very good. Temperatures have fallen a little bit in the north. I am speaking out of Copenhagen, Denmark at the moment. So we've just passed the heat wave. Now it's pretty cold.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm speaking from Portugal, fortunately from next to the ocean, so temperatures are not as bad, but we still have an orange warning today in place. So if I start melting during this call, that's because the sun rays are just starting to hit my office. So apologies if I start a bit of sweating. Now, as usual, ladies and gentlemen, your questions are going to be looked at and answered. So make sure to leave them in the chat, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube. You can leave your chats, your questions in chat, or if you don't want to compromise your privacy and log in with your YouTube or Twitch account to leave a question, then you can also go to the NIM Matrix server and leave your questions in the general chat. We're keeping an eye there, and we're going to be picking them up. But before that, of course, let's start with point 0 and let's talk about let's start with point -1 and talk about you, Jaya. It's been a while since you've been on. How are you doing? What's up with you?
I'm good. Yeah, just kind of getting on with the work. NIM is going through huge changes, huge developments. We're making a lot of progress, but we're not seeing quite enough progress in some areas where we want to see progress, but really great progress in other areas. So it's been a wild time, not to speak of kind of the broader context in the world right now. So yeah, it's a roller coaster. I'm hopeful. All bets are on at the moment. Everything is possible.
Everything is possible. You can read that in one of two ways, but yeah, anyways, everything is possible, ladies and gentlemen, both in the world and also for NIM. So that's exciting. Maybe let's jump into the roadmap. I guess it's been a while since we did a roadmap update on one of these calls. So if you want, I can put it on screen and you can take it away.
Yeah, let's bring it up. Yeah.
Here you go.
It's always nice to reflect on how far we've got. Right. So yeah, we're kind of in terms of the Lewis protocol, we're way ahead of the game. That was done early on in Q2. Super great, really happy with the dev team for that. So post-quantum keys unlocked, NIMVPN is post-quantum, and that's great. Yes, we have launched a few new marketing strategies, which we'll be talking about in this community call. New NIMVPN features, including ad blocker and split tunneling, was put out. I'm really happy with that. That was a really good partnership also with the Brave team. So very cool to be working with them. And wallet integrations, we've got an Edge wallet integration out already. Zotl and Zingo and Kohaku, I can reveal, are in progress, not fully complete yet, but Zotl and Zingo especially, we're seeing really good progress there. In terms of browser integrations, we have two major, let's say, conversations and collaborations in development, but we can't name any names yet, but we're pretty excited about both of them. Not complete yet, but actual dev work is in motion on one of them. So that's looking fairly good too. New cover traffic, faster mixnet connections. We're going to see that coming into a upcoming release where people will be able to modify the kind of cover traffic that they're using. So change the mixnet parameters to increase or decrease cover traffic, to choose, whether we want faster speeds or more privacy and anonymity. I think the community has also been asking for that feature for quite some time, both to make the mixnet more usable and also just to kind of have a bit more control on the user side. So that's looking really cool. And I was just testing it earlier today, actually, in a test release. So That's coming up very soon. Same with split tunneling per app. Split tunneling, which is different from split tunneling, which we've already got out, but this is more like app tunneling. That's something we are going to see coming up, but we're kind of right now looking at kind of different priorities that we might want to make. So we're actually launching relaunching a public roadmap, where we're also going to invite users and community to submit requests, so we can get back in touch with what are the kind of main, features that are desired by our people out there. So it might be that app tunneling goes high on the priority list, but we've also got other things in the pipeline that might be more exciting to our users, including things like being able to preset node profiles for different use cases and that sort of thing. So lots of exciting features that we can pack the app with there. So I think that covers Q2 and a little bit of Q3. Let's see what's otherwise on the list. Yeah. Anything to add, Sudo?
Well, I would just add that you undersold the new cover traffic point on this roadmap here. So there are two things that I'm really looking forward to. One is, of course, as anyone who's been following these calls to any for any time will know, is the new version of split tunneling. That's going to be huge for specifically what nymVPN is. So when you're going to be able to route, one application through the mixnet, this other one maybe through ClearNet, and this other one maybe through 2-hop mode, that's going to be absolutely huge because of how different these modes are. They have different use cases, different strengths and different weaknesses, and I think it's going to be huge. But maybe even bigger or right up there is going to be the cover traffic update, because the mixnet right now is kind of slow, right? You can mostly use it for text-based things. And generally stuff that doesn't require a lot of bandwidth. And with this update, this is going to be the first step towards actually enabling using the mixnet for more things. So I'm very excited about those two. Actually, the two next upcoming big things are both very exciting. And lastly, I will also just highlight once again for you, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to have a bit of a community managed, or at least community feedbacked, I don't know if that's a word, roadmap. So if one of these points, any of these points on this roadmap is particularly close to you, then make sure to let us know on any of our channels. We're keeping an eye everywhere, of course, Telegram, Discord, Matrix, whatever it may be, X, and if we hear enough, we're going to prioritize it. That's basically it. Do you want to say anything else about the roadmap? Should we move on to marketing?
I think we can move on. I mean, it might be worth saying, because I'm seeing here, and this might be a little bit confusing for people. So per app split tunneling is obviously available in some of the apps already, but it's this thing that you mentioned, like being able to set mixnet versus DVPN. That's the kind of exciting part.
Yes, we need a good name.
But I think we can move on.
The name is not great. We need to come up with a good name. If you have any suggestions for a good name for per app, per mode split tunneling, then let us know, because a nice punchy short name is very much needed. All right, now with the roadmap out of the way, mixed tunneling. Yeah, actually, you know what? Mixed tunneling. That's actually very good. I like it. All right, so now on to marketing. So I can't even remember when it was, probably a year, maybe a year plus ago, when I had Rob on, head of marketing at Nym. And I think that was even before we actually launched nymVPN, which is more than a year old by this point. So it's a pretty mature application by now. And I think we learned a lot about generally how VPN marketing works, right? We learned a lot about our little niche in it. So that's why we thought it would be nice to give people a bit of an update on, what VPN marketing in general looks like, what we've been doing so far, and the changes that are going to happen going forward. So let's talk about maybe just start from the broadest point first. What is VPN marketing like in general?
Well, in general, VPN marketing involves, first of all, huge budgets, and kind of competition tends to be around things like price, and also speed. We are seeing, a bit of a kind of increase in, privacy topics. So, we're definitely seeing kind of more and more privacy-focused marketing popping up and privacy-focused VPNs popping up, which is kind of overall positive development. It shows that there is demand, and, we're kind of firmly within that niche, but we kind of, let's say, excel in that niche. Whereas, when we're up against the kind of big VPNs out there like Nord and Express and so on, we can't really compete on price and speed and because they're centralized, right? It's a completely different like model, let's say. And we most certainly can't compete with their budgets, because the big problem that we have is, these are companies that spend, let's say, I don't know what they're spending, but just looking at what a kind of YouTube ad placement is in a kind of ordinary channel, we're looking at kind of 10K plus for a single placement. So, we're talking hundreds of thousands a month at least. So those are kind of, let's say, that's the challenges of the traditional VPN space. And we've definitely been kind of learning a lot from meeting those challenges over the past year or so. So yeah, that would be the answer to that question. I mean, I could speak a bit more about like let's say the history, what we've learned by having that experience. But I mean, I would say, Rob came on board, if we think back like maybe like a year or so ago, or yeah, a year and a half ago, this was like right around the time where NIM actually decided that we were going to go for a VPN. And we developed this, VPN. We got Mark involved, who was from Revolut. We've got Rob involved, who is from Nord. Top product manager, top marketing manager, in from kind of like the big hitters. And it definitely worked for certain things. We got a product out there very quickly. We got NIM on the map as a VPN, and a VPN that can compete on certain kind of parameters. We started seeing product reviews coming out. We kind of became firmly established as a VPN company by virtue of the work that those two put in. But we also learned very quickly that marketing NIM VPN as a traditional VPN definitely has its limits. And we're trying to kind of correct for some of that now. Similarly, like in terms of product development and looking at the kind of main features that we're foregrounding, again, we can't kind of, just position ourselves as an ordinary VPN, because on those parameters, we're not competitive. We're very competitive on other parameters, right? Namely privacy, decentralization, anonymity, censorship resistance. So that's kind of the moment that we're in right now, is kind of, looking back at that history, trying to think, okay, what have we learned? How do we need to do things differently going forward? But I think it's always worth also pointing out the positives of what was really firmly established by the work that the two of them put in while they were with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, for me, I love thinking back at kind of the moment before NIM VPN, because NIM wasn't just NIM VPN back then. It was, a network. And it was something that we created, in response to these big Snowden revelations about mass surveillance online and the vulnerabilities of how the kind of, core functions of the entire internet is constructed. And that's a very abstract problem to solve, right? And then we made that decision, like, what is the easiest mental model that most ordinary people across the entire world have when they think about, internet traffic? And the easiest mental model is VPNs. That's something that most people understand. That's something end users can understand. And then we made that decision. We brought in these two people, and then we established ourselves as a VPN company. So that's a little glance back.
Yes. And the rest is history, as they say. I do want to add that we still are very much that network as well, not just the VPN, right? So obviously NIM VPN sits on top of this network that our beautiful community is operating. And there are also some, obviously, like you said, the general purpose use case for most people of a network is going to be, of a network like the NIM network, is going to be a VPN. But there's also the aforementioned wallet integrations, for example. It's like a very clear-cut example of a nice fit of the NIM network with wallets. So you can I'm a big fan of the Edge wallet. We already had the CEO of Edge on one of these community calls. Maybe we can drop a link if Sal can find it to that conversation. So make sure to check that out. It has native NIM integration. Both the token and the network as well are both integrated, and more are coming, as we said. Now, with all of that out of the way, maybe let's talk about the marketing approach that we've been taking so far. You described the vanilla sort of, especially here in the West, the common approach to market VPNs. Did we do anything different from that until now, or was it mostly just that? How would you summarize?
I mean, it was, like we were doing traditional VPN marketing in many ways, right? And you have kind of a few different strategies there. You've got your kind of like, organic social media strategies. Then you've got your, pay-per-click advertising focus. And then you've got your SEO work to improve discoverability. You've got your affiliate marketing and pushing on kind of PR and reviews and so on. And yeah, I mean, we've seen, some small successes here and there and different things, but we haven't, I would say that we did not manage to quite meet the like exact audiences that are a really good fit apart from kind of, the core set of users that we've got currently, right? Like I definitely think that we, are looking at making some adjustments there. What I'm also kind of very wary of, and that what I also think we should bring into the conversation here is the huge shift in context, the business environment that we're in, because it's not just kind of NIM that's reassessing its marketing right now. It's pretty much every single company out there, especially that are user facing. And that is because obviously, artificial intelligence is a game changer here. On so many different levels. So, one of the big debates over the past couple of years has been like, is search engine optimization even worth it anymore? Do people Google things anymore? Do we need to optimize for keywords anymore? How do we change things so that, our content, core messaging, and our offering is something that actually does get picked up by, LLM scrapers and so on, So focusing more on AI optimization instead. And looking more at kind of like agent funnels too, and seeing kind of how can we adjust our strategy, both in terms of kind of marketing, but also like the product offering itself in relation to that environment. And that's just like, that's just like the surface level of the fundamental changes that are happening. The other big changes is, of course, like in the cultural realm. So what is it that people are looking for when they go online? There is a huge amount of mistrust in the information that people are seeing online now. So, and also fatigue, right? And that's not just due to AI, but it's also just due to kind of like ad targeting, after kind of 10 years of people being bombarded by, hyper targeted ads, people are tired. So the question is, does advertising work at all anymore? Or do people just not want to hear it, right? The question is also, do people trust anything that they're seeing or hearing online anymore? And that's where we're starting to see, very interesting trends around like reverting back to like the human. So people kind of trust, micro influencers and their friends much more than they
Word of mouth,
trust.
yeah.
Yeah, word of mouth, right? So it's this kind of this interesting reforming of the social fabric, where it's like, okay, the world is crazy right now. AI is blowing the information space to bits. Who do we trust? We trust our friends, right? So all of that is kind of very important context that is super, essential to bear in mind when also kind of rethinking the marketing strategy. This isn't just about kind of like the technicalities and differences between SEO and AIO. It's really a kind of profound cultural and societal shift that's happening also. So we're trying to like bring in some awareness around that and seeing how we can kind of work more with that.
Definitely. Well, mistrust. Well, I definitely hear you. And I would like to add something to that. I feel like VPNs globally got like 783 new, very real use cases. So it used to be just a short few years ago. It used to be just For most people, especially in the West, it used to be just watching Netflix from a different country, or connecting to like more to a network in a more secure way, which is maybe not encrypted, like at an airport or something like that. And now you actually have age verification rolling out everywhere. You have a lot of tension in the world, which we spoke about at length with Theo in the previous episode of the NIM community call. You can watch that one if you're interested. But shit's getting real in a lot of ways, and I feel like VPNs have a whole new place in that. And that's just I just mentioned the West for the time being. We're going to talk about other parts of the world which are facing much more serious issues than just age verification. So the need for VPNs is very real, I think. So that's also maybe an added like a change that we need to work with here.
Context, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think this kind of brings us very nicely to the changes that we're making. So in light of all of that, in light of the completely new business environment, basically marketing being revamped from the ground up, not only at NIM, but probably globally, people having the general population having like a mix of mistrust, being pissed off, and just exhausted in general. What changes are we making? What is NIM marketing and MVP marketing going to look like going forward?
Well, I mean, I suppose I hinted at it a little bit in what I was saying earlier, but we're really focusing in on like this question of trust, right? Who do you trust to get information from, especially about something that's as sensitive and important as your online security and privacy, right? So we're definitely moving away from any kind of big ad spend. That's kind of being wind down. We also saw limited results there. It's a space that's hugely crowded by the big players, as I mentioned earlier. We managed to kind of squat some small niches and make some small returns here and there, but it's definitely not kind of going to be the big driver of growth and conversions on our side. So the focus is first of all, really back to community. So I do want to, give a huge shout out to Uncle Lem, who's been putting in, very impressive efforts there. And also Beyond, who, for quite some time now has also been, very engaged on the marketing front, and several other kind of community members. So yeah, heavily community focused. We kind of soft launch a referral program, which, will be kind of hard launch, let's say, shortly as we work out a few niggles here and there. Because we believe, honestly, that people trust their friends, right? And they trust the recommendation of their friends more than anything. So that's one avenue. And then, we do want to kind of start testing out a lot more of, key opinion leaders, but not like key opinion leaders that are not actually opinion leaders, but real opinion leaders that people, truly trust in the realm of cybersecurity and privacy. And also kind of just general knowledge. So we've got some nice campaigns that Lem lined up with some major influencers in Russia that's kind of running at the moment. Some of you might have noticed a few more Russian people popping into our Telegram channels. That's the reason behind that. So we're going to be doing more of that with, some of our core community members, and also, the team more generally. We've also been looking across many more platforms. So rather than focus on, specific platforms because of the platform per se, we want to look at, specific individuals and really make it human centered. So, find an influencer that is generally trusted, and then we work with that influencer across all their different channels that they have a presence in. So, not just focusing on X, for example, but also focus on, X, Instagram, TikTok, whatever spaces that trusted people are active on. So yeah, those more kind of curated partnerships with individuals and companies that are aligned with our mission is going to be very much the way going forward.
And then I would also add that, what I mentioned earlier, that the need for VPNs is becoming more and more real by the day, basically. I think it's particularly true of a few countries. So we're also shifting now that actually censorship resistance of NymVPN has come a very long way since launch. This is an active area of R&D that we're constantly focusing on. We want to make sure that NymVPN is available to as many people around the world as possible, and people who need tools like NymVPN the most tend to be the ones who are on networks which make it the most difficult to access those tools, actually. So a lot of governments like Russia, China, Iran, and others are doing a lot to censor access to such tools. So anything that you can maybe share on the region sort of like map that we're targeting?
Yeah, I mean, it's another interesting context, right? Where it's like before, and if we look at the kind of typical VPN space, there's always kind of like a heavy focus on the US market. And the thinking there is like, there's spending capacity and, people want to, use VPNs for accessing various kind of content. And it's more driven by those types of concerns. But I also strongly believe that business environment is changing a lot. Like you say, we've got more and more people that do have or are willing to spend in order to get access to information online across the world, really. So yeah, definitely Russia is a big focus. China is a big focus. In general, we're less kind of like, we're going to be less working within the stereotypical kind of mind frame of like the regions of the world, and more looking at kind of specific, like you said, policy interventions, right? So the UK is a big focus now too. Why? Because of age verification, right? So it's less kind of like, oh, we're going to just target Europe, or we're just going to target the US, or we're just going to target, the East, or just the global South, or that, we're not thinking in blocks that way. We're thinking we have one big world, right? And now we have governments across the world who are reacting to some huge transformations in the information space or in the digital technology space, and are looking to kind of lock down their sovereignty in different ways, and are starting to implement all kinds of different regulations, some of which, in fact, do target people's or have repressive effects on people's freedom of speech and access to information. And that's where we're focusing, right? So yeah, like you say, we're really trying to zoom in on the specific people all across the world right now that do need censorship resistance, that do need privacy, that do need cybersecurity. The areas where we kind of excel, far more than the typical VPNs out there in the market.
Yes. Now, if you intend to target, countries which have age verification, I feel like we're gonna have a lot of countries to target throughout 2026 and 2027. This is a very real wave that is happening, and the reasons and the specifics were discussed on the previous episode. It was really fun. So make sure to give it a listen if you haven't already. Now, moving on to a bit of a different topic. So as you mentioned, you shouted out Uncle M and beyond, our beloved community contributors. I could list a lot of other names as well, and this brings me to the role of community, right? You already sort of alluded to this. People have heard me summarize NSL a lot of times, so I thought maybe it's a good exercise to actually hear it from a different person as well. How do you see first just NSL in general? What's the deal with NSL, the NIM Squad League?
Right. So the NIM Squad League is a way for anybody out there in the world to contribute to NIM in whichever way, and that can be across all kinds of different aspects. So if you're super technical, you might want to contribute on code review, or you might want to run a NIM node and set up a server. But we're also looking for, obviously, people that want to go out there and tell their friends about NymVPN and how NymVPN might be beneficial to them, or run events or contribute content or anything like that. So it's an open invitation. to contribute, and it has some very specific guidance on how you can best contribute to make sure that your contribution actually brings value to the project and the community. And then you can get NIM tokens in reward as a kind of token of appreciation and a thank you for contributing to the mission and what we're trying to achieve. That's the kind of broad brush strokes. And then there's some really quite clever economics behind it that I really like, and I think the idea did originally come from you, Sudo. Congratulations on that. Yeah, a few years ago, Sudo was looking at the way that we were bootstrapping our network of servers, which was in fact to spend some of the NIM treasury to delegate to NIM nodes that were doing a good job, but perhaps hadn't managed to get the kind of delegated stake in NIM tokens that they needed in order to get into the active set and actually start running the network. So we had what's called a delegations program, or we still have a delegations program. But then the question is, when you delegate NIM tokens, you get some rewards back. And of course, we didn't want those rewards to just go straight back to the company, because that defeats the point of creating an ecosystem. So those rewards go into the Squad Wealth Fund, which is in fact where our community members can earn their rewards from. So it's a community treasury to reward people for any community contributions. And that's been, a really great space so far. We've got great contributions from Rocio all the time as well. Big shout out to Rocio. Yeah, and lots of other community members. So, yeah. Was that a good summary? Did I do a good job?
Incredible. Top notch. I'm very proud of you, boss. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, that was generally the NIM Squad League. I have to be honest, I'm very proud of the NIM Squad League and what it's turned into over these years. So we've launched it more than 2 years ago now. And there are the sort of the core things that it keeps delivering for this project and for our community, which is translating like all NIM resources, including the NIM VPN app itself, the NIM website, and also the help center to various different languages. A lot of our translators are here in chat, so big thanks for that. Also, events like Jaya mentioned, both online and IRL. We see NIM community members representing NIM and our vision all around the world, and I could list many other examples on and on. But it also allows for a bit more of like an ad hoc, sort of flexible type of collaboration and cooperation with the community, and that's, I think, a shining example of that. One of the examples that make me exceptionally proud is what's going on right now with Uncle Lem, with this whole marketing project that we have going on. Do you want to share a bit about that, Jaya? Because I understand that you are working pretty closely with Lem these days on some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're coordinating on the content needed for some of these campaigns. So we've got, some good partnerships out with, some major influencers in Russia, and big shout out to them for getting a hold of them. So we had some posts going out in some major Telegram groups last week, and then this week also with Varlamov, and soon, if not right now already, YouTube placement going out with a big YouTuber, Maxim Katz. So yeah, we'll see some results coming through from that. I'm very curious to see how this plays out, especially kind of the nature of this Telegram group marketing, because it seems to be also another one of those like signs where people are gathering more in group chats as a way of getting information. Rather than kind of doing, broad searches online. It kind of follows, very much this squad trend that I've been tracing a little bit over the past few years of, reverting back to, your groups and your tribes. So, yeah. But it's, we expect to see some good numbers come through. Fingers crossed it will work.
Yep, exactly. So the reason I wanted to go through this is to inspire other community members as well. You can have radical ideas, if you have those, just make sure to share them with me, because this was just like a set of ideas that our very keen contributor Uncle Lem had. This all started with a Telegram bot. So his first idea was that, hey, you may want to target this new region, and in this new region, everybody is Telegram native, right? So why not have a Telegram bot to distribute NymVPN subscriptions for people who are already native on Telegram? He delivered the research for this. He looked at other examples, of bots on Telegram which sell not NymVPN but VPN subscriptions. He also delivered a demo of the same, together with Bump Me Up, by the way, another beloved community member, node operator, and the developer of Nemesis, our community grown explorer of the Nym network. And then that's how this whole thing grew into this proper project, which now Lem is involved in. So I just wanted to inspire everybody else, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any cool ideas like that, maybe you have some keen knowledge of your specific region, how we could get to people in your country or your region, then let us know. Reach out, because it may grow into something as big as this project. You will read about this, of course, on the Nym forum. As you know, everything that happens under the Nym Squad League is fully transparent. So all the contributions are always detailed on the forum. So if you want to look around for other inspiration, then make sure to go to forum.nymtech.net, I believe is still the URL of the forum, and look around, because there's quite a bit of action that our community is undertaking in. So much love and big thanks to all of you for that. All right, Big Boss, I don't have any other questions for you. Did you have anything else?
That was so well put, by the way. That was so well put. I'm sorry I didn't spell out the entire journey of getting there.
My master plan was to have you set me up to be able to say this. That was the
Yeah, no, but it's true. There is, and I don't know if I may speak a little bit more about, me kind of taking over the marketing function one more time. My marketing style, and you can ask Sudo to verify whether this is true or not, but my marketing style is at its core also decentralized, meaning I strongly believe that individuals carry huge wealth of knowledge and talent in and of themselves, and it's the job of the manager to allow that to kind of come to the foreground in people, so they can be their best. And I think that goes for the community manager in relation to the community too, that this is a decentralized effort. It's a decentralized project by nature. So, this, and we're shifting more and more towards this form of community-led marketing. So, we strongly believe that, each of you guys are the expert in what your friends and community needs from a technology like this. So be vocal about it, and we'll do everything we can to support you in enabling, the technology for your specific community.
Very well said. Just as a quick note to our audience, Uncle Lem shared a link to the video by Maxim Katz, who's, by the way, an excellent guy. You should check out his content. Whether you speak Russian or not, his videos are usually subtitled in English, so you can watch it in English as well. And our first placement with him is out, which is a big deal. It's all thanks to the collaboration with Uncle Lem, so it's a very exciting moment. You can watch the video, maybe leave some love in the comments for Nym, our community, and NymVPN. With all of that said, I don't really have any other questions to discuss. We can jump into the community questions if you want. We have a few of those, or if you wanted to cover anything else, then be my guest.
Yeah, let's jump into the questions.
All right. So we have a whole host of questions from Rocio. As usual, beloved Rocio. First question, how can we better help and collaborate as squads and hacktivists?
I mean, you're already doing so much to help. For context, Rocio runs, community calls also, and it does a whole bunch of Spanish language, social media, and community management. So huge amount of help coming already. I mean, really, the main things is just let's make sure that NymVPN gets into the hands of people that really needs it. So that includes activist groups out there, investigative journalists, people that I know that you very much are in touch with all across Latin America, and also just bring any ideas to us that if you come up against needs that people out there have that we're not covering right now, do let us know. And then, of course, keep running them nodes. Yeah.
Keep running nym nodes indeed, and also the events, Rocio. I will also add that not only to you but also to the rest of our community. Those go a long way. So I can't count the number of very cool projects in this space, which I would not know about if it wasn't for a very cool presentation at an event that I happened to attend. So if you ever want to go to represent NIM at an event, or maybe you want to do your own meetup and introduce our tech to people who may need it, and also the vision of a private internet for everyone, then reach out for support, because we always have that. We have an ongoing grant that will always be there for NSL events. So yeah, that's also a big one. Thanks for the question, Rocio. Next one is also from Rocio. She's on fire today. Are the squads part of the marketing strategy? I think you already mentioned this, Jaya, but let's spell it out.
I mean, yeah, well, if you mean the kind of like NIM node squads, I also I'm conscious of the fact that people have, a variety of talents, and maybe you don't feel like you're the best salesperson to go out and start selling, the NIM VPN app, which is also fine if you just want to run a NIM node instead. Because that's plenty, you're providing the network services that the app relies on. So from the squad perspective, I would say the main way that you can help in the marketing strategy is when you are kind of, working in this space and you come across other cool projects or cool influencers, or there's a specific website or a blog that you always read, from, or a specific person that you trust more than anyone else when it comes to the topic of privacy and cybersecurity, please make a note of it and send it over to us, because we might want to partner with them. So if you can just be more conscious of like, what are you reading, who you're listening to, we want to know about all of that. We want a great, list of names of, main, key influencers in regions all across the world. That's probably the biggest help that you can do right now in terms of the marketing strategy.
Yep, exactly. Well said. Thank you for the answer, and thank you for the question, Rocio. Next one, for a change, is also from Rocio. Question is, does the presence of advertising on platforms that aren't privacy friendly really show our NIMVPN ads? I don't understand.
If you're suggesting that the platforms might be censoring the ads, I mean, I suppose that's how I'm reading it. Maybe is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that could be the case, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I haven't kind of seen any evidence of that. But also, like I said, we're moving, away from, big advertising per se. We're focusing more on, influencers on these platforms. And for sure, there's been cases of, individual influencers who are outspoken on certain political topics being kind of like censored or suppressed in algorithms and stuff. But I've not heard kind of like major reports on that when it comes to influencers that talk about privacy and cybersecurity quite yet. So I think we're okay for now.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's the weird thing about platform economics is they don't really care about the content; they just care about the clicks.
Exactly. When it comes to ads, I mean, we don't do those ads that much anymore, like Jaya mentioned, right? Well, the pay-per-click type of ads. But I will mention that it takes a considerable amount of backlash to have like Meta or Google remove any particular ad. Like, it's just it's a wild west basically, because they get money out of it. So it's like if something bad is going on, people have to notice and have to make some noise about it for them to remove it. So I would assume that if you want to maybe advertise some privacy focused product via like traditional pay-per-click ads, I don't think you have anything to worry about, as long as you don't reveal the targeting information you used to the person who you're targeting in the ads. Do you remember that one, Jaya? When there were targeted ads on Meta, I don't know who did it. I can't remember who did it, but it was brilliant. They basically said, okay, so this ad is targeted to you because you are, this age, this this interests, you searched for this recently, and with this basically they revealed in a very real way how much data these companies are holding about them, and that ad got removed. So don't do that. But otherwise, I think you're fine advertising privacy-focused products. Thank you for the great question, Rocio. Last one, an important one from Rocio, is the following. Operators are concerned about the value of the NIM token and the rewards. What would you tell them? This is an important question right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're extremely conscious of the fact that the token is at an all-time low. It's also one of the reasons why we've got the service grants program. We do want to make sure that, there are some additional grants going out to NIM nodes so that people aren't operating too much at a loss. The token strategy is also we're in pretty rough times at the moment. Not just in NIM, but the entire kind of industry, let's say. Interest has just shifted elsewhere. To node operators, get in touch with the team. We do have a service grants program so that we can make sure that you're covering costs. And we're also looking into some potential adjustments in the reward algorithm to make up for the kind of current, low price of the NIM token. That's all I can say at the moment.
Yep. It's on our mind. Believe us. It's an important aspect of the NIM ecosystem. So we're doing our very best. Reach out if you're interested in the service grants program. Thank you for the great question, Rocio, and also all the previous ones as well. Next one is from Jake Anderson. Question: Should NIM lean into advertising using the AI keyword or stay away from it? I think there are many people who see anything that cashes in on that buzzword to be not very trustworthy. Can I start on this one, boss?
Go for it.
I am a tech nerd, okay? I follow consumer tech and just technology in general, and I can assure you that I am super fed up with AI, that you have to put AI in every single product name, in every single presentation. You just have to be repeating AI like 700 million times. It's way over the top. Everybody's tired of it. So if it was up to me, I would say probably not. But what do you think about it?
I mean, one thing is the marketing. Another thing is, another thing is the product strategy. AI kind of infuses everything right now. And I think you're right that, it's kind of, when it comes to marketing, it starts to smell more and more like BS to people, and people are getting fed up, like Sudo is. So it's not, we did have a moment of considering how we might want to shift our comms around the rise of AI. We had specifically a moment about, a couple of years ago where we're talking about AI as the kind of main new antagonist for NIM, because AI fundamentally is a surveillance derivative, which is such a beautiful way to put it. That's a shout out goes to Meredith Whitaker from Signal for that one. But it is explicitly a derivative from a decade's worth of mass surveillance and copyright infringement online, where everything got sucked into a bunch of machines so they can learn to imitate us in different ways. We did consider to replace NSA with AI and as our main antagonist who we're protecting everybody from. But the picture is slightly more complex than that. AI is useful for certain things for people in different ways. So we're focusing more on getting quite specific on, where we position NIM within these kind of emerging new ecosystems. And that does also include an acknowledgement of the fact that agents are going to be more and more the entities doing things online, more so than humans, in fact. So we are looking at use cases for entities to secure their traffic as they go about doing things, and setting up pipelines for that. So, I mean, I would say we're looking at it more from a product perspective right now than necessarily wanting to market us as anything AI. When it comes to the kind of marketing and the communications, we're sticking to our core remit for the time being. But I'm curious to hear if the community feels strongly that we should do something else. But that's our strong intuition in any case at the moment. So no major efforts to cash in on the buzzword, but definitely looking at ways of cashing in for us and the community in terms of like real value that we might contribute to these emerging new ecosystems.
I will add that my rant about AI, I allow an exception, okay, which is as the adversary. I think that's fine, and I think that's also true, and a very unique selling point of the NIM network and NimVPN, that we actually are like, we were made, like the NIM network was made to circumvent AI surveillance. So yeah, thank you for the great question, Jake. Moving on to the next one, by Visible Dust. What would NIM's approach be with an unlimited budget? Let's go blue sky. What would be the approach?
Oh, that's such a great question. You know, we would obviously just want to be everywhere all the time. No, actually, you know, we wouldn't want to do that. We would want to. If you know, with unlimited budget, I would look at really kind of honing in on you know, a kind of highly personalized approach. And here I don't mean kind of like personalized ad targeting, but more like intense research into the concrete needs that people have, so we can make sure that we're providing like real value for people. So a lot of research upfront on the tech stacks in various parts of the world, and then approach, you know, people where we can contribute real value.
Would you scale up awareness marketing? Because I think what a lot, like a big budget buys you, what, you know, like the very big players are doing is buying awareness, right? There's probably no person who watches YouTube at all who don't know what like ExpressVPN or NordVPN is, right? So that's like a thing you can buy for a lot of money. Would you turn that to 11 if you had an unlimited budget, or no?
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, personally, it kind of goes against my nature to hammer. Like, awareness marketing is very important, and mind share, as they call it. People's minds are being attacked left, right, and center because everyone wants a share of it, right? So I suppose that's what I mean by kind of trying to approach, you know, people where we can contribute real value, because I think like building, you know, loyal customers over time is building relationships that kind of like. So I would combine. I think mind share and awareness marketing would definitely be part of the strategy, but I would try and do it, you know, in the context and in the spaces and situations where it really makes sense, you know, where we know for a fact that we can deliver value for people, right? So I would focus. So in terms of kind of like awareness marketing, maybe less on, you know, I know Mulvad is pulling off some really great billboard advertising right now, but I would personally focus less on billboards and more on partnerships, actually. You know, partnerships with, you know, whether it's kind of like a music club for people that are kind of into, you know, that sort of thing, or partnerships with, you know, cybersecurity companies, or so it's like where we go to the places and build the alliances, you know, in the communities that kind of really make sense, rather than kind of shouting loudly at everybody all the time.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so this question is not for me. I am not responsible for marketing. I actually
I run a decentralized crew, man. You're part of the ship. Let's go.
But I will answer. So if I had an unlimited budget, I would do awareness marketing, like a lot of awareness marketing, similarly to like the other big players, but only with real claims. And also maybe poking fun at all the fake claims, or like the sort of like inaccurate claims that are being made around VPNs. It is. I will give them credit where credit's due. It's a difficult problem to like explain like a short ad segment to like the uninitiated, but still, like the claims that are out there about VPNs are just like mostly either like misleading or false. So I would do it. As maybe a joke about those claims, instead of claiming the same things, like people in like ski masks and like leather gloves, you know, sitting at the airport trying to steal your data, whatever the fuck. Sorry, I almost swear. Whatever the hell that means. I wouldn't do that. That's how I would roll. Once we have an unlimited budget, Jaya and I will hash it out. We'll fight it out. Thank you for the great question, Visible Dust. Next one is also from Visible Dust. Do you have a list of other influencers you will be working with?
Yeah, we do have a list, but I'm not going to kind of go through it all right here, right now. Always
Yeah.
open to contributions, also, by the way. But we absolutely have a list. The main focus, like right now, as I mentioned earlier, is we're looking at influencers in in Russia, China, and the UK. So we're very open to suggestions elsewhere as well.
Yeah. This, by the way, was also part of the excellent research that Lem did. He came with like a bunch of packages of different people in his region that make sense and that are trustworthy and that will be good for us. So just again, trying to inspire you guys. If you have any ideas of doing something similar, then that can be part of your project as well. Thank you for the great question, Visible Dust. Next one is from Jason. Hi, Jason. Welcome back. Are you considering changing blockchains that can get a nice pump? That's actually a fairly savvy question.
It's a very savvy question. Great minds, etc. But I can't reveal anything on that right now. But yeah, good question.
Great question. Great question. Thanks for that great question, Jason. Next one is from Jake. Once again, thanks for another great question. Do you see the NIM token being added to centralized exchanges that are US accessible in the near future? Right now, there are none available.
Okay, yeah. It's a very good point. Yeah, I'll report back on that in channels later. But it's a big topic for us right now too. The listings.
Yes, indeed. I will add here that DEXs are the future, and we are doing our very best to have the appropriate liquidity on DEXs. So in general, ladies and gentlemen, you should be using DEXs. They're a bit more sort of hands-on, let's put it that way, but they're also the real deal. Okay, so use DEXs. You can use them for anywhere. You don't need to KYC, and then we can bypass this gated system of these centralized exchanges, sort of gatekeeping our ecosystem.
On a related topic, it's always nice to drop some alpha, no? In these
Yeah, of course. Yes. If you have alpha, people will love you for that.
A tradition. So those of you who are listening, you might want to go to swap.nym.com. We now have a live swapper where you can swap between native NIM tokens, BTC, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, and NIM on the Ethereum chain, ERC20 NIM. So yeah, do try it out. We haven't made any big announcements about it quite yet. This is like super, super alpha, but it is live. It is in mainnet, and we're keen for community to make use of it before we go loud about it.
Nice. She brought the alpha as well. Now you progress the whole score on your scorecard as a guest. We keep a score of everyone. No, I'm just kidding. We don't do that, or do we? Well, you'll never know. Thank you for the great question, Jake. Next one is from VoltSecP. Training like Tor offers. You should do a section on site that has training tools like Tor to run in-person workshops. That's actually a good call.
Super.
We used to have that. We used to have that for a bit when our community was running workshops for NIM VPN. This was prior to launch. Basically, the first betas were tested and workshopped all around the world, from Vietnam all the way to Latin America. So this is a great tip, and we could maybe generalize that. And I'm pretty sure that actually the community by this point could put this together themselves, because there's so many people who have a lot of experience representing us at events and even organizing their own. So yeah. Great suggestion. Thank you for that. We're gonna add that to the NSL resources. So big thanks.
Yeah, and we're also actually preparing. I mean, I can reveal that we've also been preparing some of that internally already as part of the affiliate and referral program push. But it's a good reminder to get on with it and get it out there. So we have a nice little package coming for people with marketing material, informational, educational material. So you guys can use it in whatever workshops you would like to run.
Yes, and I'll also add that I'm super happy to help you if you haven't presented before, or you just want me to take a look at the presentation that you created or the idea for a presentation. Then let me know. I'm happy to help. We can maybe set up a call, and I'm happy to take a look and help you out if you can. Not a master presenter, but trying my best. Which I think brings us to the end. There are no more questions that I see here. If you have any, make sure to be quick and leave them in the chat, because we're actually also bumping up against the end of this call. Very fun. Thank you for joining us, Jaya. How was this for you? How was it to be back on the NIM community call?
Yeah, good. It's been a little bit hectic today, so I've been was mildly distracted ahead of the call, but it was really nice to be back in touch again with the community. So, and thanks for all the good questions.
Yeah, great questions. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us today. Yeah, hopefully you learned something useful today, both about the roadmap and how we're doing, the things that are still coming this year that are very exciting, and also, of course, the new and improved marketing strategy for 2026 and this new world that we live in all of a sudden, more adapted to that, is also rolling out. Also, major shout out to all of our community contributors, whether that's Rocio, that's Uncle Lem, that's Beyond, that's Bomb, and I could just list names for days. So I'm not gonna do that. Big thanks for making all of these things happen. I wonder if I have anything else to add. Do you have any closing remarks before we jump on?
Closing remark is just, do get involved in the referral program if you're up for it. And also, always feel free to suggest things in the channels. We do listen and we do take it on board, and it, very quickly becomes part of core company strategy. So, be vocal about your ideas. Each and every one of you are, experts about the needs of your community out there in the world. Far more than we are from where we're sitting. So yeah, get involved. We'd love to have you involved.
Get involved indeed. Now, with all of that said, the last thing that we have to do today is, of course, the little tradition that we have going for multiple years now on NIM community calls, which is to give you a little NFT for hanging out with us. So the OGs will know you will have to go to the same place as usual. So that's nym.com/go/poap. And you have to enter the password human. So that's HOOMAN. Exactly as spelled. Wanna give us a bit more context on this secret phrase? Jaya, you chose it.
Yeah, well, it was in relation to this, the AI context that we're in right now from the kind of marketing perspective. I think everyone wants to connect with their human side and with other humans in order to get trustworthy information. So I think with the rise of AI, curiously, the human is back in focus. So it felt like an appropriate pope word.
Exactly. The human is very much in focus, and another human will be here exactly in a week for another community call, at least one, which is myself, but maybe with another guest, who knows. Thanks for joining me today, Jaya. It was illuminating. Hope to see you back soon. And big thanks again to our beloved community members for listening in. If you're new here, then make sure to subscribe or drop us a like, not or. Both have to happen. And also show us some support in the comments. That helps with the algorithm gods, and we can get in front of more people. See you all exactly in a week.